welcome viewers. I am Pia and you're watching NewsX. We continue our rolling coverage of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Mauritius. This is of course a celebration of the deep and long-standing ties between the two countries. Prime Minister Modi had last visited the island nation in 2015. But on this occasion, he will be the guest of honor at Mauritius's National Day celebrations that will be taking place tomorrow. What's also interesting is that a contingent of the Indian Navy shall also be taking part in the celebrations there. Our marching band will be present on the ground as well, and INS Imphal is currently docked at Port Louis. Meanwhile, Mauritius is of course looking at enhancing the bilateral partnership with India. It's looking for amendments to its trade agreement, including Double Taxation Avoidance Convention with India. Of course, the bilateral trade between India and Mauritius as of 2024 is 851.13 million. India's key exports include mineral fuels, motor vehicles, cereals, pharmaceuticals and cotton. Meanwhile, key imports include iron and steel, medical instruments, aluminium, articles of wood as well. But that is not all. It's not just on the economic front that India and Mauritius are looking at enhancing cooperation in. What's also interesting is that there are two key memorandums of understanding which are going to be inked very shortly. Yes, Prime Minister Modi is going to be calling upon the President of Mauritius. He's also going to hold a bilateral meet with the Prime Minister of Mauritius as well, and it is there that MOUs on maritime security and on research, particularly something that is concerning the Indian Ocean region, is also going to be inked. There's a technical agreement between the Indian Navy and the Mauritius Police Force, as well as another memorandum of understanding between the Indian National Centre for Ocean Information Services, which comes under our Ministry of Earth Sciences, and the Prime Minister's office in Mauritius. Now, joining me on the broadcast is a very special guest. We're being joined by Mukeshwar Chuni. He's the former High Commissioner of Mauritius to India. Sir, thank you so much for taking our time, sitting with us on NewsX. This is a landmark visit. India and Mauritius share very close ties, not just in the economic or strategic sense, but also people-to-people ties. 70% of people in Mauritius are of Indian origin, something we've seen by the warmth that was showcased by the Prime Minister of Mauritius, all the top leaders, whether it was the leader of opposition, the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, who had all come down and welcomed Prime Minister Modi this morning. A very special guard of honor was also accorded to him. The diaspora had come out to greet him outside his hotel as well. Very warm scenes, a very warm welcome. Where do you see this partnership headed towards?
Hi, good morning, or rather good morning in your case. So it's indeed a very great pleasure to welcome somebody like Modi ji. Modi ji, the caliber that he has, the world leader that he is, the networks that he has established internationally, find some big like US, France and others. He found time for Mauritius for this, and he accepted the invitation of our Prime Minister. This in itself is a historic event, moment. So for us, Modi ji came, as you said earlier, in 2015 when he visited Mauritius, and now it's after 10 years that he's coming back. Recall that when Modi ji was elected in 2014, when the SAARC countries were invited for his
So there seems to be a network connection at your end. We will try to get that rectified. Of course, you were talking about the Prime Minister's, oath-taking ceremony all the way back in 2014. He'd, of course, invited all the SAARC nations back then. Yes, it seems that your connection is back. Over to you. Of course, you were taking our viewers through that very moment.
Okay, so what happened when the SAARC countries were invited? Our Prime Minister was the exceptional guest for the oath-taking ceremony. So he was the only or the first Prime Minister he has invited outside in the neighborhood of India, outside South. So now what happens when the new government in Mauritius has been formed in 2024 November, our Prime Minister has found it his duty to invite Modi ji as the first invitee, first high-profile leader to come to Mauritius and to participate in the celebrations of our national, which happens to be our 57th anniversary of independence and 33rd anniversary of the Republic. We are very happy that he has come with a big delegation. We proudly welcome him, and we expect a lot of MOUs and so taking place that will be in favor of both countries.
Indeed, sir, there's been a slight revelation.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You've spoken about the MOUs. There's been a slight revelation from our Foreign Secretary as far as the content of the MOUs are concerned. A lot of it will be focusing upon maritime security in and around Mauritius, as well as research over there. There's a lot in terms of technical cooperation that has been spoken about, security along trade routes. I just mentioned that the bilateral trade between India and Mauritius is above 815 million US dollars, which is quite the hefty sum, and we cooperate very, very closely as far as this is concerned as well. There's going to be engagement as far as latest technology is concerned, a collaboration on best practices, data management, remote sensing, and there's also going to enable both Indian and Mauritius authorities to cooperate in preventing illegal activities in the open seas. So how optimistic are you about these MOUs?
I am very, very optimistic. Sincerely, it was long overdue. You will agree with me that Mauritius has an EEZ of 2.8 million square kilometers, which means we have a small land space, area, but we have a large and area that we call our exclusive economic zone, which is 2 million square kilometers. India too has an equivalent large area of EEZ. So we own more or less such a large chunk of the Indian Ocean. Long time back, I just say it, long time, it's over that there should be a close collaboration in India and Mauritius. The marine ecosystem has to be explored. The area there has a lot of resources, it has to be explored. And then the only country that can help Mauritius, because Mauritius on its own cannot even go to its boundaries of the EEZ. It needs the support of India. So India has been helping us throughout. They have been providing us with ships, with aircraft, with everything that is needed for us to keep, along with India, the Indian Ocean safe. The maritime zone of Mauritius is very big, very large. The maritime zone of India is very large. We also have some close countries, islands, like Seychelles, Madagascar, Maldives, and others. And that is why Modi ji, when he came in 2014, he announced the project of Sagar. Sagar, as you know, is the, if I don't miss the, if I don't miss the term, Sagar is our very important
policy
element that India has proposed to 5 countries of the region. The 5 countries are Madagascar, Mauritius, Maldives, Seychelles, and Comoros. We are all Indian Ocean islands, but we don't have the capacity, we don't have the resources to really safeguard the island, the ocean as it should. So the Indian element, Indian input is a must, and Delhi as a capital, as a regional leader with us to do everything that we need for the ocean. The ocean needs, as you rightly mentioned, we have piracy, we have human trafficking, drug trafficking, terrorism, and so many. And why we have to do that is because Indian Ocean is the most popular, most defensive ocean in the world. Ocean where all the businesses take place. Ships, Europe, from Europe towards Asia, carrying oil from the Arab countries, carry oil and all. Ships come from Africa towards India to China and whatnot. Of course, ships leaving, oh my God, ships leaving India, China, Singapore, and all others going through the Indian Ocean. So it is the most popular, most frequented ocean in the world, and it has to be safeguarded. And India, as the main country in the center of the Indian Ocean, we Mauritius, we are slightly towards the west. But India is as if the center of the Indian Ocean. It has to have a look at everything that goes on in the Indian Ocean. It has to be present. Mauritius, with all that it has, we need to exploit our marine resource. So far, we have been talking about it, but now is time with the new government and with the support from India, we have to exploit all that we get the maximum out of our resources in the sea. So this is one. And other MOU aspects of the MOUs that will be signed. Of course, we can't preempt everything. I know your foreign secretary has mentioned
Revealed
some of the, has hinted on some of the, I think. Yeah, he has mentioned a few things. Very good. They will help us shape everything. But I feel there'll be much more than what he has said. And some of the things are kept secret, of course. And of course, what do you call that? The programs, the exchanges will reflect everything that is exceptionally possible.
Indeed, just a couple of hours are left till all of this is revealed. So one last question before I let you go. Back when you were the High Commissioner of Mauritius to India, you had invited several Indian investors to explore opportunities in numerous sectors, whether manufacturing, healthcare, education, tourism, renewable energy as well. You mentioned that Mauritius is an ideal business hub. So for the benefit of our viewers, could you share with us some of the investor-friendly guidelines in your country?
Oh my God, that's a beautiful question. People look at Mauritius as an isolated island in the Indian Ocean. But the truth is that this island has signed treaties, agreements with so many nations in the world that about 70%, I repeat, 70% of the world's population, we took about 70%, we have access to them. We have preferential trade agreements signed with those countries. We have so many tariffs which are reduced, and we deal with all those countries. I'd like to mention the whole of Africa, more or less, through the African Union, through COMESA, Common Market for Southern and Eastern Africa, through SADC, South Development Community, through other East Africa, through Mauritius, we can reach all those countries of Africa. We have signed treaties. We can have access to duty-free access for products going in. We can have value addition in Mauritius and export to Africa. That is one. And Africa is not one country. People always refer to Africa as if it is one. Africa is 56 countries, 56 prime ministers or presidents or whatever you call it. So we have to deal with Africa, open up with Africa. Africa is emerging as a continent. Its population is growing to 1.4 just like you, and the potential with Africa is great. About that, using Mauritius to trade, to business, to investment from India to Mauritius, through Mauritius to the rest of the world, we also have an agreement signed with the United States of America, the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act, where so many African countries including Mauritius, though all African countries didn't really take advantage of what all US was offering, but Mauritius took advantage of that and it exported all the products made in Mauritius, and apparel and sugar, special sugar, all those are exported or exported. So this is what opening through Mauritius to US. Another opening of we have access to send all our products duty free to these countries. So the world is open to us. We have with Turkey, with so many. I feel if now Indians don't make use of the advantages that Mauritius offer, then it's never. Why? Because so many things are there. So many opportunities are there. We have to connect. We have to make use of what all Mauritius has to offer. Recently, I have to mention that, and we are very thankful to the Indian government for one in Africa, which is the SECPA, the Comprehensive Economic Cooperation and Partnership Agreement, where it's two-way, it's a win-win situation. India bought up to 315 products of India, made in India, to Mauritius, and through Mauritius to any part of the world. Any part of the world, as I said, 70% of the world is Mauritius, to 615 Mauritian products can be exported. Those products, as you rightly said, some has been there between from India, but that's not enough. We have to make more products. We have to engage more Mauritians. We have to engage more small and medium enterprises, more investors. It should be a two-way. And I feel I recently went to Coimbatore. I met so many investors, producers from the small and medium enterprises. They're all willing, they're all keen in coming to Mauritius, put up their plant, and through Mauritius go to the rest of the world and their products to the rest of the world, duty-free or with low tariffs. So I feel this is the opportunity. Mauritius tapped. Mauritius should be linked more closely. We are linked but now is the time that we link Mauritius for economic development.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for taking out time, sitting with us on the broadcast today. I know that it is a very, very busy day over there, a lot of enthusiasm, elation we've been seeing since the morning. You know, a lot of people have been really excited with Prime Minister Modi's visit, and a very, very, very warm welcome, very special gesture was accorded as soon as he touched down, sir. Thank you so much for taking out time, speaking to NewsX. Alright viewers, shifting focus to some interesting developments that we're tracking from